This video is going to be called When You Finally Know Who You Are. And there's a reason as to why I'm doing this video. It has been in reference to a real life situation that has happened a couple of years ago when I woke up from a dysfunctional family matrix. And eventually, no, first of all, it was actually, I had that question before about my awakening. But the awakening first was after narcissistic abuse, and eventually it was the dysfunctional family matrix. So those was through the massive two awakenings, and a lot of them have continued to happen over but major, mini ones. Chosen ones, the world has always wanted to define you in a way that would make them comfortable, superior to you, so you be inferior. But deep down, they always knew you held a lot of power within you. Now, the definition will start usually at a young age. This is going to be in your home. So you will have the parents who will always have this idea of the person that they want you to be. So they will very slowly but surely craft you and model you to become that person they want you to be, which is okay. You can always, guide the child, and you point them towards the right direction so that they don't fall astray. But sometimes you're dealing with energy vampires, you're dealing with broken people, dysfunctional people that are actually steering you the wrong way. And eventually, a person who is dysfunctional, they are also going to have another definition of you, model you first of all into a character that they want you to be, and then they will eventually have another definition of you. Let me give you something to look at. A lot of you guys chosen ones, you've even had some pet names. So if you have a person who has grown up in the family and your family didn't actually call you by the names that was assigned to you at birth, they have always created another name for you, then that is exactly what we're talking about. They wanted you to be inferior, to keep small, so that you are in a place that would make them be over you, on top of you, above you, superior to you, and you would be the one that would be playing small. If you have gotten involved in broken relationships, narcissistic relationships, dysfunctional relationships, then eventually you have had a partner actually who may even have told you things like they were going to make you become that person that they want you to be. Because you see, when a person is trying to change you or to remodel you, they are already afraid of who you are at the first encounter. So they want to craft a different version of you that would make them would make you fit their narrative of how they want things to be. So this can happen in so many scenarios. It can happen in schools, it can be in a relationship, it can be in a friendship, or whatever, in every area of society. Okay, you guys understand how this whole thing works. And for pretty much a long time, you're going to be playing that version of that person that they wanted. You're going to be okay, so let's play along. Let us keep going. Let us see how it goes. You don't want to make people angry. You don't want to make your parents angry. You're going to be like, okay, these guys are my buddies. I don't want to come out as, I don't want to be a part of whatever they have going on. So sometimes you're playing along with this whole thing. And then eventually at some point, you start questioning the reality. You start kind of like getting to the bottom of what is really happening, and you're trying to make out that this thing is not making sense. So that is when exactly you start to take back and grab back your power. Because you remember now, let me give you an example actually before I continue. You've been with a narcissist and then you woke up. And then you're trying to remember the person that you was many years ago before you met that narcissist. And you're seeing that you have been driven and dragged very far away from who you really are. And that's where everything is starting to make the sense. And you're like, okay, you kind of get it. You're starting to figure it out and you know what it is. So what is really happening, the first thing what you do, you're going to start struggling or fighting to go back to that version of you that was stolen from you, because you remember who you are. And any moment when you remember who you are, that is when you're going to usually become a challenge for the people around you, because the whole intention of these guys was to make you forget who you are. So eventually you remember who you are, and you're like, okay, you're going to crawl back to meet that version of you that was taken away from you. That is where you're going to become the problem. Now, you see, when I woke up from a dysfunctional family matrix, that is when I started hearing things that I never heard my father speak. You stupid. Well, I've already heard the stupid things and whatever. I've always been hearing that. So for me, it was like a song. But this time it was more intense, with more energy. You know, you crazy, you this and that. So this was an individual who was already broken. But because I didn't know that was broken, a broken individual, so I'd always try to fit the narrative. You stupid, okay, I didn't answer back, it's your dad, okay, so what are you going to do? You move on. So as the time went on, when I decided, okay, when I finally woke up, then I was like, where is this person always thought that I was stupid? Because I knew that I wasn't stupid. I knew there was pretty much more out there, a version of me that maybe I hadn't yet fully stepped into. So is when I started to understand that these people who always create a version of you that they want to fit in their narrative, they're the ones that have always been keeping you small. So when I woke up, what really happened, I experienced rage. This was like, how dare you start waking up and taking back this power? You know, all of a sudden you don't recognize me, you don't know who I am, I'm your father, and I'm this and I'm that. I'm like, yes, I know you're my father, but you're broken, you know? You're broken and dysfunctional. And because you're broken and dysfunctional, you have always wanted me to carry on fitting the broken version of me, because I was dealing with the broken person, with the broken parent for starters. So that is exactly when I started taking back my power. And believe me, in any scenario where you do that, you're going to become a problem. There will be people that will go the extra length to crush you or to break you because you are remembering who you are. Many of you guys have been working a job. Let's say, for example, there's this job that you used to do. Well, nice job, okay. You like the people, it was okay. You know, you take care of the bills and things are going okay. And then eventually you're like, there is more to life. You know, why do I have to, why do I have to think that that is what life is all about? You know, just wake up, work here, go there, go in circles and this. So I was thinking that, so maybe one day you think like, I need something better. So you start creating something new outside of your comfort zone. And then you realize that actually you can go bigger without a normal job. And you're doing well. Now, these people who used to, you know, employ you back in the day, they're like, oh, you know, you think that you're going to get anywhere, that kind of stuff. You know, if you don't work tonight, you're going to get fired, you'll get sacked, you'll get suspended, all those kind of things. And they're starting to threaten you. Just because you are slowly starting to move to a direction that favors you and works for you, okay? Because you have already worked for these people for years. It does not matter how long you'll be working for people, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be very difficult for you to satisfy anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a parent. When the people, they are broken, they will always want to have a version of you that always will make them feel comfortable and superior to you, because nobody wants to feel inferior, especially if you're a chosen one. You will always want people around you, have people around you that are going to make sure that they keep you small, playing small, so that you can be trapped in that little box. There's no growth, there's no development, there's no remembering, there's no time to think, there's no time to do the things that you want. You only have to serve other people. The world that we live is dysfunctional. When you wake up, you are going to start to understand the level of dysfunction we have been dealing with for all these years. Did you know the reason was why you wake up and you hear these dysfunctional people going on a smear campaign. So the reason why they are going on a smear campaign, they are going there to defend that version of you that they've always had in their mind, because they don't want that version of you to escape. They want that version of you to stay there. He has always been stupid. They never listened. I've always told them they don't listen, so they try to go out and push that narrative very fast before actually you can go out and defend yourself because you have remembered who you are. So they go ahead of you to smear you, to smear your name, to spoil your reputation and the things like that. Although we all know that at some point those things, they all the way they crash all the way down, because people eventually start to figure out what the truth is. As the time goes on, they figure out the truth. So my chosen ones, you need to understand something, that one day you're going to wake up and you're going to remember who you are. Before the world defined you and told you who you are, you're going to remember who you are. That is going to be your biggest transformation, because from that point forwards, nobody will ever again try to describe you or try to give you a certain label that you know doesn't fit your narrative, because you remember who you are. That is when you start to take back your power from anybody, wherever it has been, from whoever it has been. So it all starts by remembering who you are. The people that have always been buzzing around you, they have been the people that have been trying to be in your space so that they can siphon the benefits of being around you, whether it's energy, whether it's other things you have to offer. But for them to do that, they first of all had to make you forget who you are, so that you can never be able to understand the power. Because when you know the power that you have got within, then you eventually realize you do not need these people, and they want you to need them. So they have to define a character that suits their expectations, and they come up with a name, they come up with a way, they come up with the behavior, it's a personality. They are that one ever since they was born. They used to be crazy. Ever since they never listen, they do this. So they start to create a character that is going to keep you small and stopping you from evolving. Okay, so your spiritual evolution is the biggest threat to your enemies, because they can no longer manipulate, they can no longer control you, they can no longer do the things that they used to do, because you have finally remembered who you are. Motivation video for today. Let us know what you think about the video, guys. You know I do love and appreciate your support. Please book a session, donate, or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, catch you guys in my next one. There's more signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.